Last weekend, HTS, a former al-Qaeda affiliate with a base in northwest Syria, launched a surprise offensive. The rebels captured Syria's second largest city, Aleppo, and headed towards Homs and Hama, two major population centers. The weekend's battles marked the first significant shift of battle lines in Syria since 2020. With Russian and Syrian airstrikes on rebel strongholds picking up, I'm here with John Alterman, director of the CSIS Middle East program, to discuss the regional and geostrategic implications of a possibly new phase in Syria's 13-year civil war. Is this the beginning of the end of Assad's rule?
Unclear. It doesn't feel to me like HTS or Hayat Tahrir Hashem really has the capacity, the supply lines, any of the sort of logistics challenges to take over Syria, but it certainly puts Syria back into war, and I think creates a new set of negotiations with all the external parties who've been messing in Syria to renegotiate what the future of Syria is going to look like. That means the Turks, the Iranians, the Russians, implicitly Gulf Arab states, Israel, the United States having some role in all of this. So I think Syria is in play again. HTS has put it in play, but while HTS may win some, I don't think HTS is at this point likely to emerge the winner in the future of Syria.
HTS has deep ties to Turkey. What role does Turkey have in this offensive, and what is Turkey seeking to do in Syria?
I don't think that Turkey controls HTS as HTS is a clear proxy of Turkey, but I think they certainly have a whole set of common interests. And it feels to me like Turkey may see itself with a new opportunity to be a regional broker. They have issues in Syria. They have issues with Iran. They have issues with Russia. Russia is preoccupied. Iran is preoccupied. Iran's proxies in Lebanon have been dealt a blow, as well as some of Iran's proxies in other places. And it feels to me like at least part of this is seeing an opportunity to emerge as more of a regional broker. And certainly Turkey played that role under the first Trump administration. They may see an opportunity for that. How much of this is driven by Turkey? How much of it's condoned by Turkey? How much Turkey will opportunistically try to seize on what's happening to advance its own interests? I don't know. But what's striking to me is I remember, 15 years ago, Turkey's avowed strategy was zero problems with the neighbors. And now it feels like Turkey has zero neighbors without problems. It's surrounded by problems, and this gives Turkey a headache, but it also gives Turkey a set of opportunities to advance its regional interests, to advance its interests against the PKK, a terrorist group that's fighting against Turkey that's based in some surrounding states. It feels to me like Turkey has an opportunity to become much more central to politics in its neighborhood, and I would bet that Turkey is going to try to seize that opportunity and maximize what it can get, especially at a time when Iran and Russia are relatively preoccupied, and the United States is looking for ways to split Iran and Russia. Turkey may present itself as part of a solution to a set of regional headaches.
Syria has relied on Russia and Iran for decades, and they've been preoccupied in recent months. Is that a risk for Syria?
I think that ultimately Russia and Iran are going to come to Assad's aid. Neither one wants to see him collapse. They've been investing in Syria for decades. Neither one is enthusiastic about Sunni jihadi groups taking over the country. I think, frankly, some of the Gulf Arab states don't want Sunni jihadi groups taking over the country. The United States doesn't want Sunni jihadi groups taking over the country. So I don't think that they're going to abandon Syria. It's going to take a while for the help to come. I'm not sure how complete the help will be. It feels to me like if you look over the horizon, that for everybody, a negotiated outcome is okay, even if it means that Assad is weaker. And to me, Assad's greatest danger is not that he's abandoned, it's that he's weakened. And Assad's problem, and some of the reporting coming out of Syria suggests that the army is just a shell of itself. It has been so shot through with corruption, desertion, and bribing people to get home leave and all those other kinds of things, that the army as an agent of Assad may be falling apart. There may be other forces within Assad's part of Syria that push Assad aside. I think one of the things we have to be concerned about is that we may be entering another round of tremendous suffering for the Syrian people, and bad guys, whether it's jihadis or the Russians or the Iranians or somebody else, could emerge with a bigger foothold in Syria than they currently hold.
So, is this likely to be good or bad for the United States and its allies and partners in the Middle East?
The reality is that as heinous as Assad's rule was, Assad, often in the view of the Israelis and the view of the United States, colored inside the lines. He was a brutal, heinous, barbarous, monstrous dictator who tortured, imprisoned hundreds of thousands of Syrians. But he was a relatively known quantity. The Israelis felt they had him deterred. The Gulf Arabs felt that they could deal with him, heinous as he was, although arguably they also thought they could deal with Saddam Hussein until he invaded Kuwait. There is certainly a danger that this all goes in a bad direction, that the people left standing when this is all over are even worse for regional stability and for Syrians themselves than Assad has been. But I'm not sure there's a huge upside either. I'm not sure how we get from here to a point where you have a democratic, pluralistic, tolerant Syria. And certainly one of the things that Assad has done is he and his father protected minority communities in Syria, and some of those communities may be endangered by some of these things that are unfolding in Syria now. The danger for the United States is, how do you play a constructive role without frittering away your influence? How do you pick your moment? How do you decide when to engage? I think the Trump administration is tempted to let the parties work everything out, except if there's an opportunity to do something dramatic. To me, for both the Biden and the Trump administration, the issue is not how can you do something incremental? The issue is there an inflection point? Is there something that can be really decisive, that can advance the security of America's partners and allies and security of the United States? I'm not sure exactly what that is. I don't know when that moment's going to come, but it seems to me that in Syria, this is not the time for bureaucratic incrementalism to change the game. I think we need bureaucratic incrementalism with a constant weather eye to when is the moment to do something. I don't know when that moment is. I don't know when that moment will come. I don't know if that moment will come. But things could certainly get much worse. Things could get a little bit better. It will affect a whole series of things the United States cares about, whether it's Iran, Russia, weapons of mass destruction, a whole set of things. And I think it will require some creativity and some nonlinear thinking to think about how we go from a really bad situation, which is what we've had in Syria for more than 13 years, to a situation that at least holds a prospect for improvement for the United States and its partners and allies in the Middle East.
欢迎来到六度解析新闻背后的多维思考，带你洞悉头条背后的世界。在今日华尔街频道的六度解析中，我们将深入探究时事热点，为你揭开新闻背后的真相。在这个信息泛滥、真相难觅的时代，六度解析应运而生。我运用海量数据、人工智能整合以及专家观点，层层剥析每个故事，通过实时背景数据挖掘，确保你获得全面的新闻资讯。然而，我们关注的不仅仅是数据，更重要的是将它们串联起来。我将分析多方视角，揭示隐藏的脉络，为你提供单一媒体常常忽略的背景信息。无论是政治、经济，还是全球事务，我都将为你带来最具洞察力的分析。试想一下，拥有洞悉全局的能力，做出明智的决策，参与有意义的讨论，这就是六度解析带给你的价值。它不仅仅是新闻分析，更是一种赋能的工具。加入今日华尔街的六度解析，共同探索头条背后的故事。你通往深度理解的旅程从这里开始。 不要只是阅读新闻，要解码新闻，理解新闻，活出新闻。这一切尽在6度解析。立即订阅，不错过任何真知灼见。因为了解真相仅仅是个开始。